Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing Traverse Death's Shadow, and this time we're running up against Amulet combo. So this is our opening hand. It's certainly tempting, but with only a street race to hit our second land, I think this is potentially a mulligan. I assume we mulligan here. Oh no, I was bold enough to go through it. I'm not sure I would necessarily recommend keeping this hand under most circumstances. So we cycle a street race, we're going to play a swamp and an inquisition here. We fortunately draw into a bauble, which hopefully will dig us into our second land, but we are kind of taking a bit of a risk here. So we see double Summoner's Pact, double Ancient Stirrings, Amulet of Vigor, Duca Bog, Gruel Turf for our opponent. Just going to take the Amulet here. I think that's probably the source of the most degenerate stuff he can do, and probably what Ancient Stirrings is going to be looking for at least. So I think we just want to get rid of that as soon as possible. Obviously, unfortunately, we have to leave our opponent with a bunch of Ancient Stirrings, but I think that's okay. Duca Bog's kind of unfortunate in that it's going to weaken our Tarmogoyf. I think we'll be okay, and at the very least we can Mishra's Bauble here to try and pick that back up. So draw two cards. Unfortunately neither is a land, but one of them is a Street Wraith, which fortunately does draw into the second land. So we're just going to run out Tarmogoyf here. Fortunately Traverse does nothing in this situation because we don't have 4 cards and we've drawn our only basic land, which is kind of one of the more awkward sides of Traverse. Opponent's going to Gruel Turf, which means he gets back his Duca Bog, so he can use it again, unfortunately. So I think about traversing there just to make our Tarmogoyf bigger, but it seems kind of a waste given that it's actually not even going to be able to find us a land here. So we're just going to attack here, and we can keep it stubborn now, which might be useful. We're not going to be able to counter this Ancient Stirrings though, which finds Simic Growth Chamber. So Duca Bog again, empties my graveyard, but we still got 2/3 Tarmogoyfs, which isn't too bad. We draw into a fetch land, which is going to grow the Tarmogoyf again, back up to a 3/4. We can play Death's Shadow here as well as a 2/2. And again, we've still got Stubborn Denial here. Opponent plays Sakura Tribe Scout, which is good because we can Fatal Push that and again grow the Goyf. Simic Growth Chamber takes Duca Bog back to our opponent's hand. We can Fatal Push, as I say, end of turn, putting our Tarmogoyf up to a 5/6 here, which is pretty good given that our opponents use 2 Duca Bogs on us. We can play a Raveler Cajole here, take 2 life, and make our Death Shadow a 4/4, put up and down to 6. But Ancient Stirrings. We could have countered that actually. Maybe we should have countered that. Under the circumstances, I think we're still in pretty good shape, really. I mean, our opponent's going to have to actually kill one of our creatures, so maybe it's better to just keep the Stubborn Denial back for protecting our creatures. Opponent plays a Summoner's Pact, which is fine. Plays a Zuza. We can't kill it right now because we don't have anything to trigger Revolt on the Fatal Push, irritatingly. But yeah, again, we could have countered the Summoner's Pact as well, but I don't think. I mean, I suppose. I mean, I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference, to be quite honest. I think there's a good chance we can take the win here anyway, but maybe we should have countered that just to prevent him doing any more stuff. Opponent has Pact of Negation in his hand, Primeval Titan and the Summoner's Pact. I guess we take the Titan here, because that seems like the most relevant card in his hand, which also again grows the Goyf. Opponent has to block the Death's Shadow, take 4 down to 2. And then has to pay for the Summoner's Pact on his their turn, which obviously limits their options, and manages to pick us up the win. So yeah, worked out pretty well there. We were able to outspeed our opponent, and we were able to use hand disruption to prevent them doing anything too degenerate. Got quite lucky, kept a kind of sketchy hand, but managed to draw into the second land that we needed. The deck is quite good in that regard, though. It certainly has a sort of velocity to it in terms of the cards like Street Wraith and Mishra's Bauble are basically just cantrips that just draw you extra cards and can get you to the cards you need. So they're very useful in that regard, and not in this circumstance, but otherwise Traverse is obviously a good card for just finding a basic land if you do get short on lands. So we certainly have ways out of scenarios where we're a bit stuck on lands, and it certainly managed to work out this time around. So taking a look at sideboarding, we've got a ton of things to bring in against Amulet. I think we want Fulminator Mages. Blowing up a bounce land is obviously very good because they make 2 mana, and obviously there's a substantial investment in having to bounce them. So I think the Fulminator Mage wants to come in because that's got quite a good amount of value. In terms of other cards, I don't think there's a ton we want to bring in. Colahan's Command can come in, as it obviously is an artifact destruction spell. It also can kill the Sakura Tribe Scout if necessary, so that has some utility also. So I think we probably want to bring that in. Collective Brutality is an option, but I don't love it. It does kill Azusa as well, I suppose, as does Colahan's Command, but iffy on whether we want that or not. Go for the Throat we probably want to bring in just as a way of killing Primeval Titans, should they land on the board. And Ancient Grudge again is a way of destroying Amulet, which we might want to consider bringing in. So yeah, we've got a few options, I suppose. There's 6 cards there potentially that we want to bring in. In terms of cards to take out, I don't think we want Stubborn Denials, and we probably want to cut down on our Fatal Pushes. They don't do a whole lot in this matchup, so yeah, I mean, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. And we've got 6 that we want to bring in. Yeah, I would take out Stubborn Denials, probably most, if not all, of the Fatal Pushes. Actually, yeah, all of the Fatal Pushes probably want to come out. We could keep a Stubborn Denial in, I suppose, but a lot of their offense is sort of land or creature based, so I don't think Stubborn Denial is all that great in this matchup. They also don't run a lot of removal, so we're not really protecting our creatures. So I think we want to take out the Stubborn Denials, take out the Fatal Pushes, and bring in Ancient Grudge, go for the Throat, possibly Collective Brutality, Colahan's Command, and the Fulminator Mages. Okay, so we're back with game 2. This is our opening hand. We've got Street Wraith, go for the Throat, Fatal Push, and a Tarmogoyf. Yeah, not bad. I think we can run with this. Doesn't have as much disruption, so we're kind of relying on our opponent not having too crazy a start. The opponent runs out a Sakura Tribe Elder. Fortunately, I mean, Sakura Tribe Scout, rather. I'm much more used to seeing Sakura Tribe Elders rather than Scouts. So we're just going to Fatal Push that and get rid of that. Pass the turn. Opponent has a Relic, which doesn't bode well for our Tarmogoyf here. But we do have the Street Wraiths ready to go in that regard, so we'll play the Tarmogoyf. Opponent's going to make us exile a card. It's going to exile a land, given we've got another fetch land ready to go. Selesnya Sanctuary comes down. Inquisition. Oops, sorry. What's going on here? Sorry, let's start again. Okay, sorry about that. Kind of lost control of the recording there. Okay. So we play our fetch land. I'm going to Inquisition our opponent. We see double Explore, Primeval Titan, Yavimaya Coast. So our opponent's a bit of a way off casting Primeval Titan, which is good to know. So we're just going to be able to take one of these Explorers here. And opponent exiles the Sakura Tribe Scout in his graveyard. We're going to crack a land to make it up to 3 attack power. And then we're going to cycle the Street Wraith to make it up to 4. While our opponent doesn't have any mana to crack his relic. We draw into Death Shadow, which obviously is very nice, and we're going to be able to play that out here. And explores into the Yavimaya Coast that we already know about, into cracking the relic, which empties the graveyard out, and shrinks our Goyf. Simic Growth Chamber comes down, bouncing the Yavimaya Coast. I'll cycle the Street Wraith to increase the size of our Tarmogoyf, which drops us into another Death Shadow, which is nice. And we've also got a 5/5 Death Shadow already on the battlefield. Along with this Mishra's Bauble, which is going to increase the size of the Goyf again. And we get to see what our opponent's going to draw, which is a Hornet Queen, which isn't going to help them out very much. So I'm going to attack here. Go to fetch. Down to 5, hit for 8, put our opponent down to 4, and we're able to follow up with another Death Shadow, and we have Go for the Throat in hand, ready to go. If our opponent does manage to cast a Primeval Titan by any chance. We draw into Fulminator Mage, which obviously would be very nice next turn, should we not be winning the game, as we can reduce our opponent's mana. Opponent plays a Sakura Tribe Scout into an Azusa. Just going to kill one of the Azusas here. Kill the Azusa here, and then it means we can attack through and our opponent can't chump us enough to survive. Alternatively, we could have saved that and just hit the use the Fulminator Mage to blow up one of his lands, and I think our opponent would have been in just as much of trouble, but obviously this wins the game that much quicker and uses our mana that much better. So yeah, that wraps that one up. Basically, our opponents never really got off to the fastest of starts, either thanks to our disruption or just due to the draws, and we managed to put together a pretty ferocious board state, which managed to pick us up the win.